About this time in the semester, after I've graded 3 or 4 of your written assignments and spoken assignments, and you've received my grades and feedback on 3 or 4 of your written or spoken assignments, that we're beginning to get a sense of one another and your style of communicating and my style of evaluating it, that's the perfect moment to take a bit of time and talk about some tips to help you not just get higher grades in the class, but to communicate more effectively, both in what you write and what you speak, which is a skill that will carry you throughout the degree, not just this course, and will enable you to be a communicator who leads and a leader who communicates. So, as my favorite podcast says, let's get into it. I'm going to start with what you want to think about when you are writing. Now, I'm going to use the rubric for the application assignment, which we will do multiple times during the course of the semester. But everything I'm saying here, you can apply to anything that you write and submit. So I've included the prompt for the 3 items that are a part of it, and the 1 item that is the peer reply. And you can see there we look at thoroughness, mechanics, and research, as well as the replies. Now I've listed the goal there. Under thoroughness, you want to meet the requirements of the prompt. You want to look specifically at the prompt before you write and after you write, and make sure that you have met the moment. You want to do your level best to cover all of the week's readings in some way, even if that means grouping 2 or 3 scholars together or acknowledging, this is what we've looked at historically. Now we're going to look at something future. But you want to show that you have read all of the work and that what you've written is going to take us in a different or a new or an additional direction. The most important thing I can say about the content is synthesis is greater than summary. Any manager can summarize. It's like a book report. We did those in high school and in college. This is what I read. There's a summary of what the author said. Synthesis means you can look at several things that an author said or several things that different authors said and pull them together, weave them into a clear and coherent argument. So strive for synthesis over summary. Be sure you meet what is expected for the week. In terms of your writing mechanics, most important piece, be sure that you establish a clear position and thesis. And don't weave all the way and give this to us at the very end. Lead with it and then close with it, that your position and your thesis is crystal clear to your peers so that they can debate it with you. You want to, once you establish that position or that argument, that thesis, then you want to support it with evidence from the week's readings or from the interview that you've done, the materials that you have in front, and you want to conclude with strength. You don't want to just throw the car into park at 60 miles an hour. You don't just want to stop at the end of your 3rd point, but tie the ribbon on the package and make it a gift to your classmates that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. You introduce the thesis, you provide the evidence, and then you conclude reinforcing that thesis one more time. In terms of research, I think what's most interesting in this class is when you can bring contemporary information in to expand our insights of what the scholars that are listed in each week's readings offer. I recognize sometimes the scholars are from 10, 15, 20, sometimes even 30 years ago or longer. They've stood the test of time, but you make it more interesting when you bring in more contemporary material. Anything that you cite, you want to make sure you use APA format. If you're not sure about that, check with Troy in the writing lab at USC. And you want to look at ways that you can expand our thinking by the research that you do. Maybe an interview, maybe a new article, maybe something from the business press or some other form of scholarship, but expand our understanding. Then, for me, different professors will look at this differently, but as you do your replies, you want to not just praise them, but also prod them. You don't want to just compliment or repeat back to them what your peer wrote, but to acknowledge you read it, pull a nugget out that was really valuable, and then challenge or expand or question. You want to think of your replies as a respectful debate within a classroom. You want to offer insights that we haven't seen before, challenge or take a contrasting position, or support their position, but with another way of thinking about it, a different lens to look at it. So that's my best strategies for you for the application assignment and anything else that you write in here. Let's talk about spoken assignments. Here, I encourage you to think about the verbal, the vocal, and the visual. What you say, the actual content of what you say, how you use your voice to emphasize it, and the visual. What does your body language look like? Your slides look like? How do you support the message in what it is that you do? In terms of what you say, know your message, know it cold, know the essence of it. Probably give it to us again, give it to us one more time. The old tell them what you're going to say, tell them what you told them, preview, view, review. You want to be sure that your message has been clear and probably has been repeated to us. And you want to ensure that the message you're delivering is both seen and heard. So it's either visually expressed in your body language or visually expressed on your slides, and that we're able to hear it. In terms of how you use your voice, you really want to think about the vocal strength and variety. You don't want to just read a manuscript to us. You actually want to have a conversation with the camera, which is what I'm doing my best to try and do with this short video. You want to think about, if we were all in class together, how would you make this point in a way that shows conviction, shows some compelling energy around it? And that will drive directly to visual. The most important thing is be able to look at the lens of your camera, be able to make direct eye contact with the audience that is going to be watching your video. This only gets increased when you take out the slides and you become full screen, you become larger screen. You want to know where the camera is. Don't look at our images. Don't look down at your notes. Don't look over at your own slides. Make direct eye contact with the camera. You've heard me say it before. I remind myself of that with cheap little googly eyes that I have on either side of my camera that just remind me that's where I need to look if I want to have great eye contact with the people watching me on video. You want to balance the content that you deliver with the visual impact. Don't just have a slide full of text, but do something that makes it more interesting to us in terms of how you lay it out. Maybe there's an image or an illustration, but be sure that it has visual impact and that what you do with your body language, with your gestures, with your eye contact, with your movement, if there is any, completely supports the message. And then declutter the slides, remove any unnecessary text. Every item that shows up on a slide causes cognitive load for your audience. Reduce the cognitive load, make sentences shorter, eliminate legends if you can, shorten sources if you can, put all sources on a single slide. Do what you can that what does show up has impact for us. So with that said, let me move to what my very final comment is to you, and that is, whether it's spoken or written, ensure that your message gets communicated with both strength and style, conviction and energy, because you cannot not communicate. No matter what you do, you can't not communicate. So if you mumble, if you don't make eye contact, you're not visible on the screen, if we just see your name in a black and white box, all of that communicates something to us. Take the choice to communicate something that has strength, that has energy, that has conviction, and that really represents what it is you want us to know. That's your message. Deliver it to us in the strongest way you can. I look forward to seeing the rest of your work. And as always, if you've got any questions, reach out and let me know.